Well, hello everyone, and thank you so much for being here for another episode of Women Like Me Stories and Business. And today we're going to be talking some interesting stuff. We're going to be talking stories and we're going to be talking business because our guest today is Dana Franklin and she puts out a magazine. And so she does publishing, which is what we do. So it's so exciting. So thank you so much for being here, Dana. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself? I'm curious, one thing. I'm curious because you wrote to me and you said that you lived in four countries. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what were you doing living in four different countries?
Okay, I'll do that. And Julie, thank you very much for inviting me. It was sort of a fun surprise in my inbox to see that invitation. So it's really quite an honor,
Oh, thank
privilege
you.
to be here. So thank you.
Welcome.
And yeah, my husband and I, we have we've lived in four different countries, and it really had to do with the sort of the vision and purpose of our lives. And we were working with a Christian nonprofit that took us from the United States, which is actually where we're from, but we did work there in Los Angeles, and to Hungary, and then to the Czech Republic. It was still Czechoslovakia when we went,
Oh, wow.
but it was post-communism.
Yeah, yeah.
But still, we went through well, I guess a country division. The
Yes.
velvet divorce, they called it. And then, yeah, for the last, I think it's already going to be 14 years here in Canada.
Wow. Now,
And
were you and your husband both from the United States?
yes, both of us, we actually went to the same junior high, secondary, and university.
Oh, that is so sweet. Oh, and so what made you put your roots in Canada?
That is a really good question because we did come up to work with a nonprofit, and here it's called Power to Change. We're not with Power to Change any longer. However, that's what brought us, 2 days up the 5 freeway from Southern California to here. And we weren't sure, are we going to stay here forever or not?
Ah,
And I have to tell you, Julie, we had never purchased a house because we always wanted to be available to go where we needed to go. And consequently, we did move a lot. And at some, we were just like, where are we going to stay? Where are we going to stay? But three of our four kids came up here with us.
ah.
And it was clear that they loved it here. One of them's even married to a Canadian. We have a little grandson up here. And we just thought, you know what? This is where we want to hang our hat.
Oh,
And we bought a house.
oh.
So
So now you're
that was the big Franklin statement of
yeah.
we're staying here. We are putting our roots down here. It's just a
Oh,
lovely place to live. It's a different culture, it really is.
yeah.
Um, but wonderful people here, a wonderful lifestyle. It's nature around us, and three of our four kids nearby.
And you're based out of Abbotsford, British Columbia, correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
well,
Abbotsford, British Columbia.
beautiful place, Abbotsford. Well,
Mhm.
I'm glad that you came and decided to hang your hats here. So that's awesome. That's a very interesting story. We may have to talk about story. That's
Happy
later.
to.
Later. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So, so I was wondering about your career path because you are the publisher for Mountain Neighborhoods, and I think you work with Best Best Version Media. Is that?
Yes, best
Yeah,
version media.
yeah. And so can you explain what that is? Like, are they the ones that produce the magazine, or how does that all work?
Yeah, that's a good question because it's really interesting. I am in business for myself, but I'm not alone. It's wonderful. So Best Version Media partners with me and loads of other people across Canada and all of North America.
Oh,
And they got going in 2007 with just 6 magazines that year. And they just had a new idea how to refresh print media when everyone was running from it like it was on fire.
yes.
And they decided, hey, let's do magazines that are about the neighborhood. in which it's being distributed. And so, yeah, so it's been growing crazily, and now there are almost 4,000 magazines across North America, and there are several in British Columbia.
Wow.
And so anyhow, yes. So I get to have my own business, and yet they give me so much support.
Yeah.
I don't have to build people. There's a
Yeah.
finance department. I don't have to find a designer. I don't have to put those things in the mail. They do that part for
Yeah.
me, and it's all
Yes.
Canadian made.
Wow.
And but I work boots on the ground with my content coordinator who finds the families that we feature every month. And I have a local photographer who takes their pictures, and we just tell stories about the community. And
Oh,
it's all good news. We get enough bad news, don't we?
we sure do. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. So do you have so you say mountain neighborhoods. So what does that mean? Would you go into neighboring communities, or is there just one community that you focus on?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, Mountain Neighbors goes out to the folks in East Abbotsford
Okay.
who live in these mountain areas, Eagle Mountain, Glen Mountain, and Lower Sumas Mountain.
Okay.
And they're delivered every single month by Canada Post. So it's basically the distribution area is made up of Canada Post routes. But we have additional magazines. We have more room in Abbotsford for additional magazines, for example. We find about 3 or 4,000, between 2,500 and 3,500 homes is the sweet spot. We get the highest reader engagement. One study found like 89.4% open rate, which is terrific. And
That
if you make them too
is
big and you do one for the whole city, the open rate goes down, down, down because it's not about your neighbor. And so we have one, for those folks who are familiar with Abbotsford, we have a publication in Mission. We have, several in Vancouver, and room for more.
interesting. That is very interesting. So I wanted to find out, like, how did you become the publisher of Mountain Neighbors?
Yeah, that's interesting because I didn't have a background in this at all.
Ah,
And so after we moved to Abbotsford, we became empty nesters. Our last child peeled off and went off to UBC, the University of British Columbia. And I had been doing some writing for a friend for her media company. And I just stumbled across this advertisement, I think on LinkedIn, saying that they're looking for someone to do community writing. And I thought, well, I'm new to my community. I might learn about it that way. So I made the application and they chose me. So I actually started as the writer, or we call it a content coordinator, because the goal is not to write all the content. The goal is to get content from the neighbors. So it becomes sort of like a Facebook page in print.
yes.
Everybody could contribute. And so that's how I got started with it. And then what I didn't realize, because I didn't really understand how it worked,
Yeah.
Mountain Neighbors did not have a publisher at that time. Another lady had started it. And I think she was just really good at starting things. You know how some people are super good at starting
Yes.
things?
Yes.
And she went off to start something else.
Yeah.
And then the publication, as I was the content coordinator, I'm like, huh, it just, I don't know. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But a fellow who moved, he and his family moved into Eagle Mountain, and he contacted me and said, hey, we want to be in the publication. I said, great. So I connected him with somebody at Best Version Media, and he came in as a sponsor. So that's how people get it for free. The local
Ah,
businesses who would like to do business with homeowners in affluent areas, they sponsor the publication. And anyhow, I asked Best Version Media, I said, so do I get something for doing that?
yes.
They said, well, no, but you would if you were the publisher.
Yeah.
And so they talked to me about that. And I said, no,
Oh, you
I've
didn't
never
want
done
to
anything like
first.
that. And then my husband's like, no, let's think about it. Talked some more, really prayed about it. So go,
Yeah.
Lord, is this what you want me to do? And had some good conversations with our Canadian president, Trent Steinke, and decided, yeah, I'm going to do it. I always wanted to have a business, and I always had a heart for a burden for businesses being represented well. Like I'm the person who, if we're going down the highway, and you're like, whoa, look at that billboard. Cannot even read it. Did they imagine to look at it before they put it up?
Yeah, yeah,
Stuff
exactly.
like that.
Yeah. Yes.
But
Yeah.
now I know a lot more than that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that is so interesting. And I mean, I do publishing, of course, with the Women Like Me
Yeah.
book. So and it's not necessarily always easy. So can you tell me then so if somebody's in one of your neighborhoods and they want to send you some content, like is there do they just go to your website, fill it out, or how do you reach out to people?
If somebody wants to submit content to us, they can either, if they have they're hard copy
Yes.
magazines. If they have a
Yes.
magazine, they just see my name and email address and phone number. They could just contact me or Becky.
Oh, yeah.
Becky is our content coordinator, or they can go to the Best Version Media website and there's a submit content button. So we have people do it a variety of ways.
Oh.
And I'm
And
always on the lookout for people when I find people don't think they're interesting, but they are. So I'm always on the
well,
lookout for these little interesting nuggets that,
yes.
yeah.
It's so true because in what I do, so many women think, well, my story's not that interesting. Or,
Mhm.
but once you sit down and you start chatting with them, it's like, you got a fantastic story. We've all got fantastic stories. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what kind of things are your neighbors, are the neighbors talking about? So you've got so I can see with the three magazines you have behind you, you're featuring a family. So those families reach out to you and say, "Hey, I'd like to be featured," or do you sort of go and find them?
Both.
Both?
It's word of mouth, but there's always an invitation as well. So
Yeah.
either way,
Yeah.
and a lot of times someone who is featured, they might refer us, say, "Hey, call my neighbor so and so." So we just tell their story. Where did they move from? What did they like to do? What about their kids, pets,
Yeah.
interests, sports, hobbies? Where do they like
Yes.
to go on vacation? But there's always sort of a nugget, a theme for each family. And it's always
Ah,
fun to figure that out. And I've
yes.
had people read their story, aside from saying, "Oh, we're more interesting than I thought." I've heard that.
Yeah.
And then I've also had people say, "This was so good. It was just such a good experience. It actually helps me understand my life better."
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. And so as you said, local businesses will advertise.
Hmm.
And that's how you get the magazine gets printed and shipped out.
Yes, yes. So we have a package for businesses. It's actually a very multi stem solution in that they have a print presence in the magazine, which people love. A lot of people don't even throw them away.
That's
They
good.
keep them or they give them away. So print is very enduring
Yes.
and has a good long lifespan and has a high trustworthiness rating. However, we also know that it takes so long, we're so inundated. It takes so long for people to recognize something. So then we also recommend doing Facebook, Instagram ads, sponsored ads, and then also Google display ads.
Yeah.
And they're geo-targeted. They can be just to that distribution area, but now people love our digital so much. They're like, "Can't we do more?" So now we can pop it out to 24 kilometers and they get just they're keyed for impressions. So people get so many impressions. So we're actually advertising to people who they might not even know they need you yet.
Yes. Yes.
We're advertising to tomorrow's customers, if
Yeah.
you will, which is 95% of a business's market typically.
Yeah.
Only 5% typically needs them now. We're just like, hey, 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 getting top of mind awareness. It's called branding. It means
Yes.
helping folks to know you, like you, trust you, building the
Yeah.
reputation
Yeah.
of the business, which I have to be honest, it's a slow start. It
Yes.
takes time. It's like a relationship. you
Yeah.
know, how long did it take you to become best friends with your best friend
Right.
and have trust? A long time. So we're helping that process of trust, and it does take time, but once it takes off for a business,
Yeah.
the trajectory is really good. It just keeps going and going. And then now we can help people, you know, to get that type of mind awareness. And then we also help them with their online presence, where to help people to be able to find them. You know, like when you search for something,
Yeah.
we usually call one of the top three that pop up.
Absolutely, we
We're
do.
trying, we have some ways to help with that type of
Yes.
SEO for businesses also, which is a game changer, especially for small local businesses.
Of course. Well, I had no idea that you guys did all of that. That's a full-time business, I'm sure.
It is.
Yes. And so do you help people with that online presence, or is there a certain section of the company that does that, or is that you're helping those businesses who are actually advertising in your local mountain neighborhood?
Yeah. Well, the way it works is that I'm the boots on the ground publisher
Yeah.
person, and I help connect people to the right person. For example, if it's a print ad, I give everything to the designer who does a print ad, and then I upload everything for the digital ads. And for the online presence, they actually have an onboarding with our digital department. I'm not the digital girl. I
Yeah.
mean, to me, the internet is still just a mystery, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I understand the concepts, and I can help today. Oh, this beautiful. I think you want to interview her too. I heard her story today. A ballet school, Zesta Ballet in Abbotsford. Um, I was talking to Miss Elizabeth, and she had, because she's been in our publication a long time and is thankfully had kind words to say she's seen success over time. And so she's just been doing print, you know, on her digital ads. And so we just changed it up a little bit and added that online presence piece. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, but I told her, you know, Elizabeth, I'm not the digital person. You're going to have a Zoom. I'll be on the Zoom call, but a Zoom call, just sort of like what we're doing Zoom here,
Yes.
where
Yes.
they will set it up for you. And
Ah,
they're available, you know,
yeah.
to help our sponsors whenever they need help.
Well, I was snooping around on the websites, and it looks like it's not just neighborhoods that people do. They do all sorts of different what's the word, genres for for the magazine. It seemed like there was a few people that were doing things a little bit differently, which I thought was interesting.
What kind of things did you find?
Well, I thought it was like a motivational stuff. There was a couple of people that on the website. Maybe I read it wrong.
No,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Yeah, yeah. So down in the U.S.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it was a little, I just, when I was snooping around, I saw it, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. That, and then I thought to myself, oh, well, who do they, if they're doing something that's not necessarily a neighborhood, then who do they find? Because people don't purchase from a subscription, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm curious I would love to see what you're talking about
Okay.
because it is typically there's a distribution area
Yeah.
and it just goes out to that area and it's always about the neighbors. Now we can have a variety of content
Yeah.
and anything that the neighbors want to submit, they're
Yeah.
welcome to. It could be anything
Yes.
from a recipe, it could
Yeah.
be a motivational article,
Yes.
as long as it's, you know,
So,
family friendly and
yes. Do
not
they do?
political and happy.
So if somebody wanted to put out a magazine within the company, but they didn't want the print one, they just wanted to do digital, does your company, do they do that as well, or it's kind of goes hand in hand?
Best Version Media tried doing the magazine digital, having a digital version at one point
Yeah.
as a complete flop.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, nobody liked it.
Ah,
So no, we don't do digital
interesting.
publications. We
Yeah.
just do the print
Yes.
in the hard copy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, good
Perfect.
question.
So do you do much in the way of storytelling? I guess you do storytelling in the magazine because of course you're telling the story of the families.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. We tell the story of the family, and then we'll tell the story of the business. we like to run a business profile for our businesses.
Ah,
And we like to help people to get to know the business owner and to get to know, what's unique about that business.
yeah.
How does that business help?
So how are people finding you? So if somebody has a business and
Mhm.
are you on the boots on the ground girl, knocking on doors, or how are the businesses finding you?
Yeah. Well, we do go a little bit under the radar because we are geo-targeted. I
Right.
really do have to take initiative,
Yeah.
and referrals are like gold to me.
Yes.
And I'm active in the chamber. Active in some, a variety of local events and such where I just, aside from just being great things to be involved with, they're a great way for me to meet people.
Yeah.
So, yeah, lots of meet and greet meetings.
I bet. I bet. Yeah. So who would you say, well, I guess anybody could be in anybody could be any business could be in the magazine, I guess, as long so you but they must be in your geo area.
Oh, they don't have to be in the geographic area. They just have to want to do business with those types of folks.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So
so
they
it's
could
not,
be anywhere. I
oh,
mean, I guess hypothetically, it could be a business in Calgary that wants to do business with people in East Abbotsford. I don't have anything like that,
I
but
didn't read. Okay, I got that. That's super interesting. So,
yeah.
can you share a little bit of one of your families, a little bit of a story, just to give us a little bit of a feel as to, who it is that you're and how that works?
Um, One story last year that was particularly heartwarming was that there were two adult daughters, like my age, and they were sisters, and their father was they wanted to honor their parents. They had just lost their mother the
Oh,
year before, and their father was entering into dementia. And he was still living at home at that point, and he was so sweet. Really, they told they just wanted a story to honor their parents. And so we told the story. And oh, the response in the community was amazing because people, oh, that's Arnie. Oh, look at him. Oh yeah, he always rearranges our garbage bins for us. And we
oh,
had a picture. He was fixated on making sure garbage was getting distributed properly and loved watching the garbage trucks. And we had a picture of him on a garbage truck getting a ride from the fellow who was so kind to give him a ride, this fellow who was in his late 80s. And, but it was just a really touching story
oh,
because
yes,
they reached out to us because they wanted us, it trusted their precious family story to us.
yes.
And I'm like, whoa, we got to do a good job. So that was a very special story. Otherwise, gosh,
So it doesn't have to be about, their 9 to 5 life. It can be about the legacy of their family or anything that they want
oh
to
yeah,
share. Oh,
we like
that's
to take the lead.
beautiful.
Actually, these pictures behind me?
Yeah.
Do you see the one with it looks like snowflakes and the girls have
Yes.
hats on their heads?
Yes.
Well, yeah, that one of the girls in that picture lives in our distribution area, and another one used to live and was actually featured, and the other one isn't, but they are all involved. So the girl who lives in the distribution area, she didn't want us to do a story about her family. She said, I'm very active and have helped found a group called Care for Women in Abbotsford. Can we do a story about the nonprofit Care for Women? I said, of course we can. So that's why we have that group on the cover. So we can do stories about a nonprofit on the cover also.
Beautiful. Oh, so the word, my brain just goes, just expands because really the opportunities, because I can see maybe some families a little bit shy or something, but to know that you can talk about your parents, you can talk about a nonprofit, something that's close to your heart, or you can talk about your family and what you do and all of I mean, it just,
Mhm.
there's so many opportunities
Right,
for
right, there
different
are.
stories.
Yeah, and then people also like to share pictures of their pets. So
Oh,
we'll have pictures of pets. A lady on Eagle Mountain a couple months ago, well, she was fostering a dog, a big dog, a
yeah.
golden retriever. Turns out the dog was um pregnant and
Oh,
then proceeded to have 12 puppies.
oh my goodness.
So that's been a thing. You know, the whole community's been rallying around her to donate dog food and this and that and everything. And we got to tell that story. So that was fun also.
So while I'm listening to you talk, it just really makes me feel that the community starts to come together through these magazines.
That's our goal, bringing people together is the
Yeah.
goal. And so it's really fun, Julie, is I'll get emails and sometimes phone calls from readers. And a fellow wrote me and he said, well, I finally met my neighbor because they were on the cover of your magazine. I was always too shy to ever introduce myself, but because they were on the cover, I walked up and said hello.
That's wonderful.
Hmm.
Because I totally get that because my husband and I, we moved to Chilliwack, going on, well, a little over 5 years ago now. And we bought in one area and then we sold and bought in another area. But both of those areas, I don't know what it is. It's just people drive home and they go in their garages and
Right.
it's really tough to meet your neighbors and to
Yeah.
that and to get that connection. Like it's one thing to wave hello, but you're not really getting that connection. So I can see how that fellow reads now he knows a little bit about those neighbors and it gives him a bit of
Hmm.
courage to go up and introduce himself.
Right, right. So
Yes.
gave him a reason, an excuse to do something he'd been wanting to do. And then
Yes.
when we bring people together in the neighborhood, we think it's good for our business sponsors
Of
because
course.
then that can stimulate word of mouth referrals as well.
Yes, yes. Wow. So yeah, so it's a lot more than what I thought it was. I'm so
Really?
glad that you agreed to come on and talk about it because it's bigger than what I thought.
Hmm.
Yeah, so no, it's great. So, okay, so what advice would you give to an entrepreneur who's looking to start a community-focused publication in today's media environment?
Join me.
I'll
I'm
teach.
actually the market leader for the Fraser Valley.
Oh,
Yeah, from anyway, Langley out to Chilliwack and up to Mission, Maple Ridge, Pitt Meadows. And I'm actively looking for other people who want to take advantage of this opportunity.
oh,
So yeah, Best Version Media has only, I mean, I guess it just depends how you want to do it. If you'd like to, be in business for yourself but not be alone, we're a great option. Um, I'd say you really do have to look and see, hey, do I have it's harder than it sounds.
right.
I
Yes,
don't have people beating down the doors to be like,
yes,
I want to spend a lot of money and be your sponsor. You
yes,
know,
yes. Oh, for sure,
there's
for
so
sure.
much education involved and
Yes,
initiation. So I'd say in order for it to be paid for, you
yeah,
have to be committed to raising up the sponsors.
yeah,
Because, the writing and the pictures is it's a really important part and it's fun.
yes.
And then there's the sale. I mean, I don't even like calling it sales, but it is sales.
Maybe a
There's
sale, for
that
sure,
part
for
of
sure.
helping
Yes,
people. I really call it a discernment process, helping
yeah,
people to discern,
yeah,
is this the path they want to take for their business? So
yeah.
you have to remember that half of it.
Ah, yeah,
The both and it's not just the writing and the pictures. Someone's got to pay for that thing.
yeah. You know,
But it's a great opportunity for businesses to get inside of homes.
yes. Uh, so my background is sales. So I was in
Hmm.
sales for 34 years.
Hmm.
And what I found over the last 10 years, well, because I retired a year ago. And
Uh-huh.
yes, and so what I found is that Google, I'll just use Google because Google's big. Google is going to start telling us who to call. So we, as a business owner, if we don't have another way to put ourselves out there, then people are just going to say, "Hey, Google, who's a who's a realtor I can call? Who's a mortgage broker I can call? Who's a house painter I can call?" And they're going to give you their people. They're not necessarily going to, going to go down the list and go, "Oh, Julie, she'd be great at selling your house," or, "Oh, Bob would be fabulous at painting." So to I think it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I think the businesses really need to get on board because this is their niche market.
Mhm.
Am I making sense? You know,
Yes, you are. And what you
yeah,
were just talking about, Julie, that is what our product is called online presence.
yes,
When people do Google something, who is Google going to tell them?
right, right.
We can help in that SEO process to be one of the ones that pops up to the top.
Yes, yes. But
Game changer.
but the name, seeing the name is so important. So
Yes,
in
it
my
is.
business, I would send out, and I'm not even exaggerating, 10,000 or more flyers a month. And I would
Wow.
fold them in a certain way. And all I cared about was that you saw my name, my pretty face with how to reach me and what I do.
Mhm.
And if they threw it in the garbage bin, I didn't care because it's seeing my name, seeing my name, seeing
Right.
my name. So in
Right.
your magazines, if you get sponsors who decide to be consistent, like that's fabulous because those people, they're going to go, "Oh yeah, we wanted a lawn care person or we needed somebody to do this." And they're going to remember those people in the magazine.
That's the goal. That's exactly
Yes.
it, what you're talking about. So when they do the Google search or, and they'll recognize something in
Yes.
that list,
Yes. Yes.
for example. Um,
Yes.
but
It,
yeah, no, so for us, the key is frequency and consistency over time with the
yeah.
same audience.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
it takes 7 to 10 times now, Julie, of someone seeing your brand before someone notices it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then to get them to remember it takes even
Yes.
longer. And to maybe
Yes.
even give you a call is up to around 21 times.
Yes, yeah. Well, and I suppose I mean, I'm assuming the businesses know where the distribution is, then they should be sending additional mailings there. Like, because it's all about their names, their names, their names. Anyway, I gotta,
That would make a lot of sense, but that is why we do the digital ads in the
yes,
areas too.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'm going back into my um.
I feel like we have a lot we could chat about.
We could, yes, yes. So I would like to finish with my 5 fun questions.
Oh no.
Yeah, are you ready to play? Okay, they're fun. They're fun. Okay, so this is just to get for people who are watching on YouTube or listening on the podcast, just to get to know who you are a little bit better. So, can you please tell us what's your favorite book that inspires you in business or in your life?
Well, my favorite book that I actually sit down Monday through Friday. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go down and make my coffee, and I sit and I actually study my Bible.
That's no, that's fabulous.
That's my lifeline. I'm
There is.
actually a study leader of a thing called Precepts Bible Study.
Oh,
And but yeah, that is what informs, the Word of God
yeah,
is number one. And then but I do love books.
yes,
Um
yeah.
I can never say what is my favorite book, but last year I love audiobooks. I listen to all of the books in and I love youth literature, um, the Chronicles of Narnia. And as I was listening to them, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's written for children, and every major topic in life is addressed in those books.
Wow.
And they even had, and it was sweet timing because I was listening to them when somebody actually in one of the books died, and my dad was dying at that time. And I got to see a picture of how C.S. Lewis imagined it was like to enter that afterlife. And
Yeah.
it was very comforting to me. So, yeah, anything by C.S. Lewis, but I love other books. Les Miserables is
Yeah.
one of my very favorite books. And I read the original translation into English. I think it took me a couple of years.
Wow. Wow. Well, you see, your brain, they're all coming to you now.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah. And I
wonderful.
like business books,
Yes.
But anyhow, but yeah, no, yeah. The Word of God. That's
Yeah.
my number
Well,
one.
there's a lot of motivation, a lot of good wisdom in the Bible. So yeah,
Yeah, there
yes, yes,
is.
yeah, very helpful.
You met
Okay.
business.
Yes, yes. Okay. So if you could have dinner with any woman in history, who would it be and why?
This is really hard.
We're alive.
Oh dear.
We can come back to that one if
You
you.
know what would be very interesting? I
Yeah.
know that there's amazing women and I'm just completely blanking. However, I had a great aunt. And I know she was a pacifist, this little tiny lady who was dressed all in black all the time, traveled the world. She has a part of a library in the University of Michigan named after her.
Oh my goodness.
Anyhow, Elizabeth, I mean, not Elizabeth, Rebecca Shelley, she would have meetings with Indira Gandhi, and I
Ah,
thought it was, I don't, I'm like, maybe that would be fun because, Indira knew my great aunt Rebecca.
well,
And I could learn a lot
absolutely.
from her.
The stories that lady would have to tell.
Yes,
Oh
yes.
my goodness. That's a good one. That's a
But
very
I
good.
have blanked on probably every other woman in the universe
That's
right now.
okay. I think she's good. I think I'd like to have lunch with your or dinner with your aunt. What is your favorite way to unwind after a busy day?
Hmm. Come home, change. If it's late enough, I'll go straight into the jammies.
Ah, yeah.
If it's still too early, then I'll put sweatpants on
Yeah.
and just unwind.
Yeah.
Okay, this is sort of silly. I make dinner usually each night for me and Rick, and I like to watch some mindless Prime or
Yeah.
Apple TV or whatever series while I'm making dinner. I like to do that to unwind.
It's perfect. Perfect. It just takes your mind off of things and you don't have to think. You're not like focused.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just move my phone
beautiful.
around wherever I'm going.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a favorite motivational quote that keeps you going?
Hmm. Well, one thing that keeps me going is to remember what really motivates me.
Mhm.
So it's for me personally. I want to build community, influence others, and be a light in the community.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And that's it's very specific to me.
Yeah.
And something else though is just that I'm really learning is persistence and grit and to not fear failure.
Hmm.
Begin again. We can begin again every single day. I mean, I wish I was consistent with everything I do. And I'm getting better, but
Yeah,
I'm not I still have a ways to go. And so I can begin again, forgive myself and begin again.
absolutely. That's beautiful. That's a good lesson for all of us because shame and guilt and feeling bad about ourselves is not helpful.
Yeah.
You wake up, you go to bed, you wake up, it's a new day. Put on a
Hmm.
smiley face and hopefully it's different. It's a different day. Okay, my last question. If you could travel anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would you go and why would you go there?
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
I'd go to Orange County, California,
Oh,
because I have a little grandson there named Waylon.
oh,
I think I'm gonna cry. I
oh,
just
that's
miss him so much. So
oh,
my
that's
big son,
beautiful.
Christopher, it's his son. And yeah, that little guy, he just needs his Grammy and Pop.
Oh, and how old is he?
He's 8.
Oh,
So we love to go down there and take him on adventures,
yes.
down to San Diego to Legoland or SeaWorld or different places. But anyway, other than that, I do love to travel the world. But that is when
Yes.
you said tomorrow, I'm like, I want to see Waylon.
That's beautiful. Oh, I loved all of your answers. I think that I love the one about your aunt and I love that you would go see your grandson. That that's that's beautiful. That says a lot for sure. Well, I have enjoyed our conversation and I have got so much knowledge because I had no idea. I thought I kind of knew what you did, even when I was snooping around and spying on you over the net. But I really didn't fully understand it. I think it's a beautiful thing that you're doing and yeah, I think it's great. I think if businesses do it right, it could be a gold mine for them.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So you have
Yeah,
to trust the system, realize results aren't immediate, and invest. Business owner, if I could tell business owners one thing, don't just work in your business, work on your business.
yes, yes,
Lead your business,
yes,
invest in your business,
yeah.
and get other people to do the stuff that you shouldn't be doing every day.
I was gonna say to you, what advice would you like to give out there? That's perfect. And it's so true because when if we're not used to being in business, and running our own businesses, uh, it's a total different ball game than going to a job and making your hourly wage or salary
Mhm.
and having your all this is what you do and this is what we're paying you for. But when you're in your business for yourself, I remember for me in the beginning, I went in, I got my desk, there was nothing there, I sat down and I'm like, oh, I don't now what do I do? What am I gonna do now? And then I started to come up with ideas and okay, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this. And then you get that system. So I think systems are so important.
Yes, they are. And you're talking to the most non-systematic human alive. And I appreciate systems so much more now.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
yeah. If you come up with a system and something that works for you, then you just keep doing it and you keep refining it. And you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time. I have seen so many people come into business on their own and then fail and off they go, and which is such a shame because it's we put our hearts, our soul, our bank accounts, our personal time, everything in there, and then to just to leave. But but if they understood that it's about systems and just getting a system in place and following
Mhm.
it. So people who are advertising in your magazines, okay, what else can I do? Oh, I know where those magazines are going every month. I should be sending something out there. I should have something going on for those neighborhoods. And
Mhm.
so that they remember me and I'm in the forefront of their minds. So it's,
Mhm.
yeah, systems are so important. I'm
Maybe I
glad
should
you're,
have you come along with and talk with my sponsors. I think you'd have great ideas.
well, it's just I learned the hard way. And when I figured it out, I just did. And you adjust as you go, 34 years. And when I first started, payphones were 25 cents and I had a pager. And so I would call Joe Smith and I would look for the nearest phone booth. Always had a handful of quarters in my purse. Get out, go in, you're on the phone making notes, and very different from the way it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Very different. Yeah, when texting started coming in, I had so many young clients, and they I just couldn't get them to talk to me because they would just prefer to text. So I'd phone
Right.
them, ring, 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 phone them back, ring, 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 ring. Then I'd go, hey, blah, 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 and I'd get an answer back within seconds. So
Yes.
it's all about adjusting. We have to learn to adjust and go with the flow and figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's enough from me. Is there anything in final that you would like to say to everybody?
Well, each person listening has a special talent and special gifts. And I would encourage each person to find out what they are.
Mhm.
And if you're, I mean, not, I was gonna say, if you're living a humdrum life and not enjoying it, figure out what you're good at
Yes.
and try to do something where you can utilize what you're good at. It doesn't mean every day of our life is going to be the best day ever,
Oh,
but it can be better. So you are special. You have unique giftings, and yeah, try and play around with them. See
now
what you're
you're
good at.
making me teary-eyed.
Oh,
That's
okay.
beautiful. Thank you, because I'm sure there are people who needed to hear that. So
Oh,
I appreciate you doing that. Thank you.
well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay, everybody. So that is the end of our episode. Now, Dana is going to send me all of her contact information. And in the video, in the description for the video, as well as a description for the podcast, there will be links of how you can reach out to her. And she's looking to build a team. So if you find what she does interesting, and something that you've always wanted to sort of play with a bit, publishing, writing, promoting, selling, all of those kinds of things, she can help you with that.
Mm.
So there will be contact information in there for her, and or if there's any other reason that folks want to reach out to you. So thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. I had a great time. I loved our conversation. So thank you so much, and we will see you around town.
Mm-hmm.
Take
Yeah, I think we should have lunch together.
We
But
should
thank
have
you
lunch.
so much. I
Okay,
really
you're
appreciate
welcome.
it, Julie, and thank you for
Okay.
all you're doing for so many women.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for that. Okay, take care, everybody. See you next time.